Welcome to the Inspirational, Informational, and Transparent Aviation Careers Podcast. My name is Carl Valeri, and I'm your host today. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about the 2 steps to a successful letter of recommendation and why most people fail by skipping step number 1. Before we get started, I want to say thank you for listening. If you're on the YouTube channel, do me a big favor, give us a big thumbs up for as far as a like, and also subscribe if you haven't done so already. We already have a lot of videos out there helping you move forward in your career. By the way, if you're one of my coaching clients, it's been kind of tough to get in touch with me. That's why we're talking about this topic, because the airlines are hiring again. Everybody's hiring again. And the biggest question I get is how to write a successful letter of recommendation. So let's get started with that. So what are the 2 steps to a successful letter of recommendation, and why most people fail by skipping this step, number 1? The 2 steps to a successful letter of recommendation are, number 1, step 1, how to ask for the letter of recommendation. You have to ask. Some people don't ask because they just don't actually ask for a letter of recommendation. They don't feel like they need one. The other thing, too, is that when you ask for a letter of recommendation, there's a few things that we need to do to successfully do that. Number 2, the second part of this we're going to talk about is how to write a letter of recommendation. And that's also very important. If step number 1 is done properly, step number 2 is going to be rather easy. So let's dive into it. Step 1, how to ask for a letter of recommendation. Remember the 5 W's. And what are the 5 W's? Well, who, what, when, where, and why. So let's go through all those steps. So who are you, and what is your relationship with the person writing the letter? Is it an employee, the student, a coworker, friend, relative, saw you in the park one day, jump-seated on your flight, etc.? Just actually make sure that you know what the relationship is with the person who you're asking to write that letter for you. So what do you want? This is another thing people forget. Typically in sales, right? What do you want? Well, let's ask for it. First of all, I'm applying for a position of first officer, flight instructor, flight attendant, dispatcher, a scholarships possibly is why you're asking for this letter of recommendation. But always ask. Also, make sure you remind them in the letter that you're asking for a letter of recommendation. Put that in the specific letter. Some people forget that, and it gets a little bit confusing as to what you're actually asking for. So make sure you ask for a letter of recommendation. So when you're asking for the letter of recommendation, also make sure the person knows when you first met so they know how long you've known each other. In addition to letters of recommendation, most online recommendations will ask how long you've known the individual. So the next thing you need to do is mention when the recommendation is due. Let them know when you'll need the signed letter of recommendation completed. If it's an online recommendation, when must it be submitted? And also the next thing along with when is where. Where should the letter be sent? Is it signed and scanned as a PDF? Must it be mailed directly to you or an organization? And where do you submit it online for the application? Also, will there be a link coming in their email? Because that's really important. When you're asking for a letter of recommendation to be done online, make sure you tell them you're going to include a link or there's going to be an email coming their way, because it may go to their spam folder. So make sure you do that. Next thing is why. Why are you applying for this job? Well, it might gain experience to achieve your ultimate career goal. That could be a nice why. It's my career goal to work for or as or that type of thing. That's why you're applying. And it makes a lot of money. I'm just kidding about that. Don't put that in there that it makes a lot of money. But be very honest with them. That's a little too honest. And just tell them, hey, this is why I want to do this, because it's going to further my career. Give them the why. If you're applying for a scholarship, tell them why you're a good candidate for that scholarship. Your passion, it's your life stream, there's a unique relationship with this scholarship. And also, you may mention that you might be the first person in your school, in your family, etc., that actually is thinking of flying, or you're the first person going to college and getting a degree, or one of those things. So make it the first, if you have one of those in your background, while you're applying for that scholarship. If you're applying for a position, then mention why you're a good candidate for that position or that job. It might be your experience. You might align with the values of the organization. But if you do say that, make sure you list the values of the organization and an example how you align with one or all of those values. A great thing you should do is send them a link to the company you're applying for, and possibly even a link to the page where it describes the values of that company. I think that's really important, to align yourself with the values of the company and use examples there. So before we get on step number 2, how to actually write the letter of recommendation, I'd like to give a quick shout out to our sponsor. And by the way, if you could, please, give us a thumbs up and let us know how we're doing here. It really helps us out with the podcast. But our sponsor this episode, by the way, is somebody that really helps people move forward in their careers, and that's Spartan College of Aeronautics. Really like to thank them for putting out scholarships, guys. There's 50 of them. If you're ready for your aviation career to take off, visit spartan.edu to find out how you can accelerate your career in aviation. Established in 1928, Spartan College of Aeronautics and Technology is one of the nation's first technical training schools for aviation and pilots. Spartan College has trained over 100,000 pilots during its over 90-year history. With the purchase of 32 new Piper Archers, you'll train using the newest technology in the industry. To find out more, visit spartan.edu. Spartan College of Aeronautics and Technology will accelerate your aviation career and help you reach new heights. And Spartan is providing 50 scholarships guides. That's that guide that we have that has over $120 million in scholarships. You can get one for free by using the coupon code SPARTAN. Go to aviationcareerspodcast.com/free to find out more. So let's get back to a letter of recommendation. So step 2, how to write a letter of recommendation. See step 1. This is an important one. If someone's asking you for a letter of recommendation, ask them to watch this video. Go to step number 1, who, what, when, where, and why. Just like when you're interviewing somebody, go back to step 1, get that information. It's easier if you just ask for that information, then you can actually craft your letter. Ask the person requesting that letter to provide you with those 5 whys, or 5 W's, that actually is something that I think is really important, because sometimes they may not understand. This is their first time requesting a letter of recommendation. I know I get letters of recommendation requests all the time, and you probably do also if you're writing one. Make sure you ask that person these things: who, what, when, where, and why, and just to fill those out really will help you. Actually, and like I said, it'll practically write itself if you actually ask for those things. So there's 3 parts to the letter of recommendation. I know a lot of different people have different ways of breaking this down, but there's 3 basic parts to the letter of recommendation. There's the intro, there's the body, and then there's the close. So in the intro, I want you to verify the address and the name is correct. This should be provided by the applicant. If there's no specific person that it should be addressed to, just write "to whom it may concern" on the top of this letter of recommendation. The statement of recommendation is really important. That's the next part of this. I am recommending Joan for the position of first officer, dispatcher, etc. So make sure you have that statement in there. That'll be the next paragraph. It says intro, to whom it may concern. This is your statement of recommendation. The next thing you're doing is who you are. This could be in a separate paragraph if you do more than one sentence in the first, statement. And the next thing you would do is say who you are, your position, your relationship with the applicant, that type of thing. Also, it's really easy if you just kind of craft it this way. Think about yourself. Say, "Hi, I am Carl Valeri, the chief instructor for XYZ Flight School, and I've worked with Joan for 10 years as a flight instructor." That gives you that relationship with that person that you're recommending in this letter of recommendation. So the next part of this is the body. There's part 1 of the body, and that's the why you are recommending the applicant. List the reasons they qualify for the position, or say it's a scholarship. Keep in mind the values of the organization the applicant wants to work for, and of course the applicant has given you that information prior to this, or you've asked for it. In the body part 2, this could be a separate paragraph. Give a personal story relating to the qualifications of the applicant. The applicant may have included a story of how he helped you or the organization you work for. That would be very helpful if they did that. Try to include one or more of the values of the company the applicant is applying to without sounding contrived. Try to make it flow normally. I wouldn't include all the different values, but if you can without it sounding contrived, then go for it. Last part is the close. Invite the person to contact you. Include your contact information, such as a phone number, an email, a signature with a name and a title. Review the letter. That's the next part. You want to review the letter. Be yourself. That's also another important thing when you're writing a letter of recommendation is be yourself. And don't sound too contrived. If you're yourself, you won't sound too contrived. Another thing, just as an example, I do these videos, and if you notice, I don't cut out a lot of my mistakes. Some I do. I mean, if it's factual, I have to cut it out. But that way it doesn't sound contrived. You're being yourself, and it makes it more authentic. And that's the way you want to sound in your letter of recommendation. So have the applicant also review the letter, because you may have made a mistake and they need something corrected. If you say, hey, you knew that the person for 10 years and you only knew them for maybe 2, then you might want to correct that. And keep a copy of the letter and prepare the letter for the applicant. So what does that mean? Make sure you have all the online links if needed. So make sure you have the letter, prepare it for the applicant, have it signed, like I said before. If it's a PDF, send it as a PDF. If he needs it in person, then send that along. And make sure you have all the online links. Say it's an online application. So those are the 2 steps to a successful letter of recommendation. I know I'm going to get a lot of feedback as to why most people fail by skipping step number 1 in the letter of recommendation. And that's something you really should ask for when somebody's applying for a letter of recommendation or applying for a job and asking for a letter of recommendation. It's really important that they become part of that whole process to helping you put this letter of recommendation forth. Well, I hope this has been helpful. If you're looking for career coaching, you want us to review your letter of recommendation, maybe your resume, talk about career goals, we do have that in our coaching, and down below I have a link. It's been really busy now. Things have truly changed. I mean, we're back. I mean, the industry is back. Remember this, that a letter of recommendation and the resumes and all, people are being asked all the time about these. This industry is just like waves. It goes up and down, up and down. We went through a lull. The waters were calm. Nothing was happening. Now the waves are rushing in again. And it's really exciting to see the doors and they're opening up. But one of the most important things I want you to do, if you're watching this video, you're listening on the podcast, is don't stop here. After you hit stop, I want you to take action. I want you to do something today to move forward in your career, to move forward towards your goal in your life, in your career, no matter what it is. And it's really an exciting time again. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next episode.